This is Immortal Works Flash Fiction Friday, episode 42. Pop Go Dreams Like Balloons by Fanni Suto. First published by Darkfire Fiction. Read by John Grundvig. I admired them since my childhood. I remember staring at them while walking with my mother in the city, shaking her arm and crying that I want to be like them. She just caressed my face and shook her head. I couldn't understand her indifference. Their dark figures put me under their spell and made me yearning for their lifestyle. Always the paragons of elegance and spotlessness, all similar at the first glance, yet all different. My idols belonged to the mysterious guild of businessmen. They were unimaginably rich and successful, everything a poor boy like me could wish for. There was one detail that fascinated me more than anything. My 5-year-old imagination was charmed by something more tangible than power and money. The bizarre balloons tied to the wrist of businessmen. The balloons shone in unimaginable colors, angry red, lonely purple, and unripe green. I told my mother that I wanted to have a balloon like that. Dear Mum, forever trying to please me, visited all the booths in the market and each and every toy shop in town, but the shopkeepers always shook their heads. The businessmen's balloons were peculiar. They seemed to be made from an everlasting rubber. I never saw any of them losing air or getting punctured. Their biggest peculiarity, however, was that all of them had faces, strange, distorted human faces. Wherever I went, they always seemed to be looking at me, staring into the very depth of my soul. I feared and worshipped. My interest in the balloons bordered obsession. My mother was honestly happy when I started growing up. School and my new friends slowly turned my head away from my old hobby horse. I met the love of my life when I was 16 and reached adulthood with her by my side. The time arrived when I had to decide which profession to choose to cater for the needs of my future family. The memory kicked in. I went to the Guild Hall of Businessmen wearing my best clothes. My whole body was trembling. I had an audition with the ancient secretary. His face seemed a map of wrinkles. He was not like all the other clean young men I admired. Yet he was kind and answered all my questions. Nowadays, it's rare that somebody applies for an apprenticeship with us. We aren't that popular since that scandal. I faintly remembered that there was a big upheaval about something a few years ago. I couldn't recall what it was. I didn't care. We're more careful since then, he continued. We hold long speeches to the apprentices and make them sign contracts to prove that they know what they're doing. Is this work that horrible? I asked. Not much more than any other, he said. Everything has advantages and disadvantages. You have to be very dedicated, though. I am, I answered proudly. That's all we need. What do you need, my boy? He asked. I want security and a good salary. I'd also like a balloon, I added shyly. His face became sterner. Those you shall have, he said, and I was sent home for the weekend. I had to return on Monday. I dreamt with balloons, the clean smell of suits, and my bright future. I arrived at the guild hall with the sand of dreams still in my eyes. I signed the papers without reading them and nodded off during the long speech of the secretary. The hall became almost empty. It was only me and the fat second son of a baker. After the welcoming ceremony, the secretary led me into a room and whispered, "Good luck," before he closed the door on me. A neatly arranged suit waited on a chair with a pair of shiny black shoes arranged at the feet. The only other thing in the room was a white bed. An elegant figure appeared through a back door and asked me to lie down. I thought for the first time that maybe I should have paid more attention to the speeches. The man pulled his lips into an emotionless smile and told me to not be afraid. The last thing I saw before I closed my eyes was the silvery flash of a knife nearing my heart. I didn't die. I wasn't even wounded. When I woke up, I was wearing the business suit, and it felt like it had always been a part of me. I couldn't remember what happened. I tried to force my memory to work, but my life slipped away from my fingers. My whole body felt desperately light. Then I noticed it. The source of lightness was tied around my wrist with a silk thread. A pale blue balloon floated above my head. Inside its ugly fat belly sat all my memories, aspirations, and the feelings I once had for my family. I didn't need emotions in my job. They would only hinder me in making the best deals, earning the most money. The businessmen regarded feelings as an unpleasant burden, so they severed them from our heart. But no one can live without their feelings, so they knotted it to our wrist as a compromise. My balloon grinned down at me with lopsided lips, its distorted traits echoing my horrified face. Thanks for listening to Immortal Works Flash Fiction Friday. Please don't forget to review, rate, share, tweet, subscribe, Morse code, smoke signal, or telepathically blast us. Also, if you have a flash fiction story you want to read on this podcast, you can submit it to us on our website at immortal-works.com.